situation and how did we get here and how can we move ourselves out of this misery?
Well, our present political situation arises out of a crisis of leadership, which is also a crisis of legitimacy, because of President Mugabe's failure to abide by the will of the people. I believe that since 2000, President Mugabe has never won a free and fair election. And because of the contestations around his legitimacy, the country has continued to face a legitimacy crisis. And that legitimacy crisis has led to a proliferation of other crises, including the economic crisis, including the social crisis, and even a security crisis. And recently we have seen that the levels of selfishness of the president, even from within his own party. He just announced that he's not going to be able to groom a successor or to identify a successor, which means as far as he is concerned, it's just about himself who can lead this country, which is very, very, very unfortunate. So I will say that it's a very big crisis, but it's embodied within President Mugabe and his attitude towards the generality of our people and towards himself. If one believes that there is no one who can succeed him among 13 to 15 million Zimbabweans, really it's a pity. It's a pity. I shudder to imagine that we have an old man who is willing to go down with this country, who will not stop at anything, who will do whatever it takes for him to die in office, and even contemplate surrendering power to his wife or to his family, and so on and so forth. So those are really, I think we have reached a stage where we must look beyond the opposition. We must look beyond the political parties. We must look beyond the political lines. I think people in Zambia are as fed up as the people that are outside Zambia. And it's time that we, as the people of Zimbabwe, from across all the political divide, really, really unite and try to stop this man.
We have had so many elections disputed. Do you think 2018 can be better or will be different?
It has to be different. It has to be. Let me tell you, there are things that we're in control of, and there are things that we're not in control of. We may not be in control of some of the electoral reforms that take place, but for the things that the people and the opposition are in control of, I think we need to maximize. We can surely take control of the coalition building process and ensure that we build a strong coalition, a single coalition that transcends personal ambitions of Promise Mkwananzi, of whoever, but that looks at the current situation as it is, where we have a president and a political party that will do whatever it takes to stay in power. So we must take control of the things that we can take control of. I've given you the example of coalition building. I'll give you the example of voter mobilization and voter registration. Those are things that we can control as a people. So we need that unity. We need that mobilization of people, all people, to be able to participate in this election. I think that if you look broadly within Africa, all the elections that have been won, they have been won against the odds. It is what it is. That is Africa for you. So if we go into elections thinking that we're going to get a free and fair election, then it's unfortunate. We must go into this election fully aware that we are going into an election that will be skewed in favor of the ruling party. But we need to do as much as we can in areas that we have control over, and ensure that we maximize on those areas. We must double our number to win a rigged election.
You have just actually touched my next question about coalition. I was going to ask you which one would you prefer, or can you paint us another picture on coalition or NTA? Because some people are talking about NTA, some people are talking about coalition. Because some of us, we don't understand what.
Yeah, I think we need a coalition because what is needed is a huge group of people to contest the ZANU-PF regime, and that huge group of people will come from the combination or the unity of the various forces that are in the country. I would say we need a broad-based coalition that transcends political parties, that includes also civic societies, social movements, citizens movements, and so on and so forth. We've seen it in Kenya, the Rainbow Coalition. We've seen it in Gambia recently, very effective coalitions in Zambia as well, some years ago. So we need a coalition of opposition forces, if possible, even of some reform elements from within ZANU-PF. If one of the consistent factors among the coalitions that we have seen in the past is that it must have a component of the regime defecting from the regime to join the people. We saw it in Nigeria recently, where the oil lords who control politics in Nigeria, although they did not join the opposition, but they took a backseat and allowed the election to be free and fair. And I think that we should be able, as opposition forces, to give those assuring signals, especially to the military and other critical cohesive forces of the state, to give them that guarantee that a change of government and an opposition government will be good for them as well and for their children.
But from what we have seen, what is happening in Zimbabwe, first led by Mugabe and the other one by diaspora, do you think these guys will now come and support a coalition which is led by former, even say, opposition parties? For example, an opposition and coalition that is led by Trangirai or BT or Makoni, being supported by the likes of Mujuru and Rugaragundu?
Well, if what they tell us is anything to go by, I don't see why they should not support a coalition, an opposition coalition, unless if they're being used by somebody. But from what I've heard, I've spoken to Mujuru in the past, I think if they're genuinely now in the opposition, there shouldn't be any problem with the ZPF and its cousins joining the coalition. I would even go further and say we still need some elements within ZANU. We need to watch very closely the internal implosion that is taking place within ZANU-PF.
Yeah.
It's very significant, it's very important to understand what's happening, the internal dynamics within ZANU-PF, because they've got serious ramifications for the politics of the opposition as well as change politics in the country. And I think that is where we need cutting-edge leadership from the opposition leaders, in particular people like Morgan Trangirai, who are highly likely to lead the coalition, to be able to reach out to those people. I said earlier on that you need some vestiges of the ruling party to join in order to crack the apparatus of the state that they use to retain power. Once you crack that apparatus by dividing the key leaders in the ruling party and joining those forces together with the opposition, you stand a better chance of bringing about or achieving a change in the country. So it's beyond looking at Mujuru and their group. It's very important to continue to look within ZANU-PF, to continue to reach out towards reluctant reformists who are within, who are still resident in the ruling party, and to give those assurances to cohesive elements of the state.
Coming to civil society, we have seen as ordinary people that when Tajamuka movement, which you are a leader, started, there was unit of purpose. But recently, from what we have read on social media, it seems there is a division within the Tajamuka. Is it
between who and who?
The members or the leaders?
Which leaders?
We might not name them.
Why not? If they are leaders, they should be named.
Maybe if they were
so that then we know what exactly we're talking about.
Maybe we are assuming.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. Yeah. That if you are talking about divisions, you need to pinpoint that there are divisions between Promise Mkwananzi and so and so. Then I can start to answer from there. Or between this movement and that movement.
But from what we have seen, or what we have seen on WhatsApp, there's a division where we say some are saying there's some infiltration from the regime where they've gotten to divide you guys, and at the end there is that crack within the movement?
Look, you can't rule out infiltration. You know that ZANU-PF is ubiquitous. It is everywhere. Maybe among the three of us there could even be infiltration. Who knows? So infiltration is another issue. But divisions of real and genuine cadres of the movement, I don't know. There might be differences in perspective, in approach, in strategy, which is fair. I mean, we even children of the same mother, they can't think the same way. But I can assure you that the original people that originated the idea of Tajamuka stand together to this day. And I think, contrary to public or common belief, Tajamuka is actually much more stronger than it was. And this will be evidenced by the processes that will unfold in the coming time.
Yes, I was also going to ask on that one. It seems as if Tajamuka is scaled down.
It's gone quiet.
If you look at December going backwards,
Yes.
then if you look from there coming up, we haven't seen so much strategy or activities that has shaken the regime in the past. Why?
Look, you have to accept that the brutality of the state has negative impact on organization of movements across the world. And when you are faced with the situation that we are with, there is always need to sit down and reflect and re-strategize. So many people have been convicted, as you know, members of Tajamuka. Some are still under trial on trumped up charges. There's so many convictions, there's so many arrests. You need to, in the face of that, you can't hide from the fact that that is the situation. You need to think about the situation carefully. Do you need more casualties? What kind of more innovative ways can you use to keep the pressure and to sustain it?